Is living in Japan expensive? I already answered that, yeah, it's one of the highest living costs in the world. Hi Hannah, why you decide to study in Japan? What's the reason behind it? I answered that too. What are some habits you've dropped and picked up while living in Japan? I'd say that I became an adult in Japan, or I grew up in Japan. I think that living here has been good for me. It's made me mature. But that could also have been due to becoming a mother. But I definitely would say that living in Japan has helped me mature. I've dropped a lot of my childish habits and learned how to grow up and be more considerate of people around me. For example, learning to think things through before I say them. That's definitely a bad habit that I had. Habits I've picked up? I don't know. My parents are convinced that if you live in Japan, your house has to be spotless and immaculate. Is that true? No, that's not true. There's some really dirty people here too. There's dirty people wherever you go. You see shows on TV here about people that are like pack rats and they can't get rid of their stuff. People are people wherever you go. I just say that because there's more of a housewife culture here, that they just take their job as a housewife seriously, so they really, get to cleaning and cooking. But no, I wouldn't say that your house has to be spotless and immaculate. I'd say it's probably about the same. People that are going to be clean are going to be clean. People that are going to be dirty are going to be dirty, regardless of their culture. How tall am I? I'm 5'6.5", I think. 5'6.5". What's your biggest regret? I don't know. But I don't regret getting pregnant and moving to Japan, if that's what you're asking. What do I dislike most about Japan? I already answered that. What do I miss most about the States? My friends and my family. And about thing that I dislike about Japan would probably be just, like I said, it's backwards in certain ways. It's old school in some ways. But it's progressing. Okay, how is your daughter responding to both languages? Honestly, she's only 1.5, so she doesn't really know that much of either language right now, but I feel like she remembers the word that's easier for each thing. So she knows both hot and atsui, or she says achi, and I think that hot is harder to pronounce than achi, so she always says achi because it's easier to say. And then also she'll associate the word with whoever taught it to her. So I'm with her and I take care of most of her feeding and bathing and that type of thing. So she will remember shower, and she'll remember, but she doesn't know ofuro, and she knows the words that I teach her. But then she'll remember the Japanese words that her dad teaches her. So whatever concerning whatever he does with her. So he'll take her to the park and he'll say, Ellie, Eddie, ikoka, ikoka? Do you want to go to the park? You want to go? So now she remembers ikoka, ikoka. So it's just whoever taught it to her, she'll associate it with that person and she'll say it. But she's remembering both pretty well. She pronounces Japanese quicker, I think, because I feel like it's a lot easier to pronounce. But she, I think, has better English comprehension because I always talk to her most of the day, and then her dad's just with her at night. How do other Japanese accept you being Caucasian and your husband being Japanese? I don't really think it's a problem at all. How do people in Japan generally treat you, considering you're a foreigner? That's basically the same question. I get stared at more because I stand out, but I don't get treated poorly at all. I think people are mostly just curious and interested in me, and they want to talk to me and find out more about me, and that's understandable. So I don't have any complaints really. Have you heard of Perfume or Capsule? They're my favorite Japanese idol group. Yeah, I do actually like Perfume and Capsule. Like, I really don't like Japanese music at all, but I really like Perfume and Capsule. They're good. Do you meet up with other moms with partial Japanese ethnic children? Yes, I do. How do you choose the name, Ellie? It's kind of stupid, actually. Like, Suki basically said that if it's a girl, he'll let me decide, and if it's a boy, then like he'll choose a list of names that he likes, and then I would pick out a name from that list that's easiest for both. We wanted a name that both English speakers and Japanese speakers could pronounce. So because it was a girl, basically I got to decide, and he did have say in it. Like, if it was a name he didn't like, I'd ask him and I would put that one in my list in my head. But I went to like a convenience store one day and was flipping through a baby magazine, and I noticed that they had these captions on the pictures that gave the name of the baby model. And like, because I guess a lot of half Japanese babies are models in Japan, hi Ellie, there was lots of names and ideas in there for names that were both easily pronounced in Japanese and English. Hi. I love you. And I saw Ellie, and I was like, oh my god, that's a good idea. I like that name. And like, it was a name that I don't really know anyone with the name Ellie, just one person, and it's like no negative association with that name at all. So Suki also was like, yeah, sure. So that's how we chose Ellie. Can you say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to do some more video later. I'm back. So, I made dinner and now Ellie's sleeping. She's taking a nap. I know it's really late to take a nap, but I have time to answer a few more questions. So, here goes. Do you plan on having Ellie attend Japanese school or international school? I already answered that. I want her to be in an international school, just preschool, and then I don't care after that. How long does it take on average to learn Japanese? Pretty sure I answered that too. If you just want to learn it like reading and writing and speaking, but not speaking like a native, then I'd say 5 years. Would you be able to show us your tattoos and tell us what they are and what they mean to you? Yeah. So I've got this one. It's dark in here, but maybe you can see it. It's a moon with some flowers. And Suki's means moon in Japanese. And Hana, I used to go by Hana, which is flower. So, moon and flower. Suki drew the design, the outline, not the fill. Like, there's kind of a fill design. The tattoo artist did that. And then I have another one here on my back. That's K for Catherine, my friend who passed away. And then I've got one on my back area that is, I got it the second time I came to Japan, when I came to travel here after I studied abroad, so I was 18, and I wanted to get a tattoo, so I picked out the design from a book of traditional fabric designs, Japanese fabric designs, flowers, specifically flowers, and I wanted it to be like something that was Japanese, so it's a Japanese flower design. What was your perception of life before and after you had your baby? that's deep. I guess, I was just, I don't know how to categorize my perception of life. I was a student and I had a dream of living in Japan. I guess doing whatever it took to be happy, to follow my dream, even if it meant studying at a university I didn't like. But my perception of life now is a lot less selfish. It's not about me or my happiness anymore. It's about my daughter's happiness. And basically, if, once you have a kid, it's just, you'll do anything in your power to make them happy. And that's basically my perception of life now, is just Ellie and Suki. How often will you upload videos? I try to do 1 week. You look like you're around my age. How old are you? And is it hard being a young mom in Japan? I'm 22. As far as being young and being a mom, I don't think it's hard being young. And if anything, being young is easier because, like, after I had Ellie, there were so many benefits to being young. Like, my body rebounded back so fast. And the downfall is that living in Japan means I don't get to see my friends. If I were to do it the way that I planned on doing it, I would have gone home and then graduated and had more time with friends and then come back to Japan. But who knows if that had happened, had I actually chosen to live in Japan, or if things had worked out with me and Suki. So I don't regret at all getting pregnant or moving to Japan, because that's just obviously my fate, and I'm happy and I love my daughter, and if it didn't go the way that it did, I wouldn't have her. So it was totally worth it. I'm curious about the situation with college and your pregnancy. I just can't picture how both your homeschool and study abroad school took the news. My school was almost done when I got pregnant, so it's not like I was showing or anything. It didn't really matter because I was done. And at the last few days of school, I told a couple of my professors. I think the earliest I told anyone was at my school, like teacher-wise, was one of my professors for ceramics, because they used like lead and different metals. I don't know if they use lead in any of the ones at our school, but they used metals in the dyes, the glazes. I was worried about that, inhaling that, so I asked him about that. But all my teachers were supportive. Nothing wrong there. I just graduated, and basically people found out at the very end. It wasn't really that big of a deal. As far as my homeschool, I loved my guidance counselor. I called her. She was the first person I told I was pregnant, or maybe like the second. I just called her and I was like, this is my situation. I'm pregnant. I'm in Japan and I want to graduate. Is there any way I can finish up my courses online? She was like, well, usually we're not supposed to allow that because of a rule we have. Your last semester has to be on campus. But she pulled some strings for me, and actually it turns out she was pregnant then too, and so like maybe she kind of sympathized with me, but she made it all work. All my credits transferred, and I really just had a few classes left to finish up. I had like 6 courses, or like 25 credits or something like that. So if you just call around and talk to people and explain your situation, you'll be surprised at how understanding people really can be.